So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have one of the best anchors also, and he's also a former editor in chief of Slam, and he also used to work with ABS-CBN Sports, and he's also now with Signal as the head of sports content, and of course, PBA anchor and UAP anchor. So, I'll now welcome here to the DVD show, Mico Halili. Thank you for joining me here on my podcast.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Diego. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So to start things off, I was researching before the interview that you're now the head of sports content of Signal. So I wanted to ask, how's the job doing? Especially because I know when you moved from ABS-CBN Sports to Signal, that wasn't your first job yet, and maybe people are curious on how's life for with you now. Na you're more focused on behind the scenes work, and we don't see you on TV as often as before.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think when people when I meet up with people and they're saying, "Oh, ano, Miko, parang di ka na namin napapanood." I take that as a sort of compliment because I guess it means that I'm busy with my current work now because I'm people see me less and less on TV. So yeah, so to your question, what's life like now with what I do? I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I'm still very much involved in sports. That's something that yeah, luckily has been a consistent part of my life since I graduated from college. So it's, I guess, part of career growth, part of career evolution, that you spend so many years being in front of the camera, but at the same time, all your work in front of the camera and behind it leads to a very challenging job, which is to oversee, to ensure that every sports league, game, tournament that we air on Signal is of as much to the best of our abilities, the highest quality, that will feature the best possible combination of on-air talent being led by really talented production team. So that's it's kind of like my work. So if people ask me, ano ba ginagawa mo? Simply put, make sure whatever you watch on TV as a sports fan, that you will enjoy, you will be entertained, you will learn, and it's worth your time to watch the sports content that we show.
Yeah, so of course, me as an avid sports fan, I'm into one sports now in Signal and Signal Play and TV5. So yeah, maybe I'm interested to also ask you on how are you able to show all of these sporting events all over these channels na halos lahat nga napupunta na sa Signal or sa One Sports now because there's no ABS-CBN and it's a GMA and then yung NCAA. Pero most of it is with you now, all the local and all even like international like Olympics, NBA, and all these competitions.
Well, your question comes at a really great time, and I have a great answer for that. Our chairman, boss MVP, celebrated his birthday yesterday,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if really when you have when you have a big boss who's the biggest sports fan you'll ever meet, I guess that leads to the mandate and the directive to try and deliver as many exciting sports content leagues to Filipino fans, and that's why, as you've noticed, uh, we have so many properties that we are responsible for. So whether you're a PBA fan, a UAP fan, a PVL fan, NBA fan, our task is to make sure that those fans will be entertained, will enjoy the kind of sports coverage that we can provide, and so that kind of works hand in hand. Our biggest boss is a biggest fan. He's most likely watching all of that, so we have to make sure that when he watches, he's enjoying the coverage that that we produce. So again, I mean, these are things that we are so grateful for. So number one, grateful that our boss is a sports fan, and two, grateful that we have leagues and tournaments that we have partnered with, and that allows us to create exciting sports content.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you also if I had a boss also when I'm working already like that. Mas much a challenge din ako na
Yeah.
galingan talaga and don't settle for mediocrity kasi talagang alam mo yun, lahat nga ng sports yun na yung pinanonood. So yung criticism din sobrang magiging ano yan intense pag nagdami kang mistakes. So yung I wanted to ask also since in ABS-CBN Sports like we all didn't know na yun mawawala din siya. Pero your role there, it was also a pretty high role, and now here on Signal, there's also it could be also different. So maybe you could explain how it is different and what challenges did you encounter at the beginning, especially that it's a different network, different people we're working with and stuff like that.
Okay, so siguro just for context, when I was with ABS CBN, at least recently, no, kasi I started my career in ABS-CBN naman
Yeah,
talaga
yeah.
back in 1995, no, but most recently, so I went back to ABS-CBN 2018 to take on the position of head of sports digital. And what I did for them was to lead our social media team, our website team, ensure that we were delivering great experiences on our YouTube channels, and even also helping out with our sports content on the iWant OTT
Yeah.
platform. So it was very exciting because it was about serving the young fans who consumed sports on digital platforms. So ABS-CBN Sports is a big team, and then part of that team is focused on the broadcast, meaning the live games that you watch on SNA on TV, and then kami naman sa digital, our job was to make sure that people who were experiencing sports on the digital platforms, we would take care of them. We would serve them with content that they would enjoy. So that was my role with ABS-CBN when I transferred to Signal. My task became more focused on the broadcast experience. So games that we would air on our Signal channel, so that One Sports Plus, PBA Rush, UAP Varsity channel, and One Sports also, the games that the UAP games that you would watch there. My task was to help make sure that our coverage would be of the highest quality, that we're innovating, that we're recruiting, the talent that were insightful, that were entertaining, and so you might say that iba pala kasi in ABS you were more digital, and in Signal you're now more broadcast. But yes, it's different, but in the same way, they're the same because it's really
Yeah.
about serving the fans.
Yeah.
It's just that I guess you can say different fans consume sports in different ways. I mean, there are super fans that consume it on all platforms, diba? So
Yeah, yeah.
you're a UAP fan, you know this, no?
Yeah.
Pag UAP fan ka, manunod ka on One Sports, while nanonood ka on One Sports, you are checking, diba? You're
Yeah.
checking One Sports social for the
Yeah.
clips and the
Yeah.
highlights, and you're checking Twitter, and you're checking Instagram, you're checking
Mm.
TikTok, diba? So and those are super fans, and I would imagine you're probably one of them. So
Yes,
diba?
100%.
But at the same time, we also recognize that just let's say focusing on UAP, there are different kinds of fans. So let's say may mga alumni fans, mostly my classmates and my batchmates, na maybe not as digital and more focused on watching it on a big TV at home. My job is to serve them. My job is also to make sure that younger fans who are watching on streaming. So we have our Signal Play streaming, and then we also help out with the Smart Giga Play streaming. So
Mm.
part of my job also is to make sure that that kind of experience is also good for
Mm.
younger fans that are on the move and more mobile. So yeah, parang I'd like to believe that those two different, I guess, designations are essentially lead to the same thing, which is figuring out how to make the fan happy, how to serve that sports fan that is there to experience the coverage that we provide.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I was also interested to ask this na follow up, since I see on Twitter and people were complaining then that they were able, that it wasn't easy access to watch like some of the sporting events like the UAAP, like kailangan pa daw mag-download ng Signal Play app. I mean, for me it's not hassle, but maybe for them it is. And they were like, yeah, some complaints that I did see on Twitter, and I even saw like Carlo Pamintuan, he was saying na, telling this person na parang ang dali lang yan, ganyan, and puro kayo reklamo. And of course, since you're like in charge of the content, maybe you could answer to address the concern of the audience. Like, yung iba kasi sinasabi, bakit hindi na lang sa Facebook Live or sa YouTube na mas madali panoorin? Bakit kailangan yun, Smart Giga Play app or Signal Play or yun, may cable?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. With some very challenging answers.
Yeah, whatever you could say only.
uh, okay. I guess this is, and I've had first-hand experience of answering this question to my own friends and my own classmates who have been
Yeah.
watching the
Yeah.
UAP for the last 30 years. Okay.
Mm-mm.
The one thing kasi na might get overlooked is, my previous employer, ABS-CBN, they've had like 20 plus years of working on trying to perfect the UAP viewing
Yes.
experience, and I was fortunate to have been part of that process. And when you have a 20-year sort of lead time in delivering a product, marami kang trial and error, marami kang
Mm.
ano, and uh, medyo malaki yung lamang mo when yun nga, you have that much like parang lead time to serve those fans, no? And then all of a sudden you transfer to a new rights holder, and it's really expected that there will be sort of like an adjustment period kasi all of a sudden you'll have to learn how to sign, you have to sign up for a new platform, you have to learn how to, syempre, different companies have different ways of doing things. So the complaints, the observations, it's okay, it's all welcome, it's all part of transition from one rights holder to the next. It also provides us with guidance, kasi yun eh, parang you get to hear how fans want to experience the sports that they want to watch. So it's all good. It's all good, Diego. That's part of managing a league for the first time for a company. So that's okay.
Mm.
Ganun lang talaga, part of the process. And the thesis is, 3, 4, 5 years from now, we would have had, the necessary time to perfect
Mm.
all that experience, whether it's on broadcast or on streaming. Now, the other part of your question, the fan saying, ba't di nilang kasi ilagay sa Facebook para mas madali? Or ba't di nila
Yeah.
ilagay sa YouTube para
Yeah.
mas madali? While it is true that that would be the easiest, no? I think the business aspect also needs to be appreciated, no, by fans, because we don't get the UAP for free. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, Signal does not get the UAP for free.
Yeah.
Signal and Smart need to pay a very significant amount in order to acquire a property like the UAAP. And
Mm.
because it is not free, I hope fans also understand that na a company has to, when we do things, it has to make this it has to be of good quality, which is part of my job, right? Na pag i-air mo on TV or you stream it, it's great. The other element is, does it make business sense? So I think it's an interesting thought process na if you're a fan, o sige, parang yeah, pag pinakita na, nilagay namin sa Facebook yan, yeah, it's going to be easy for you. The
Yeah.
question is, who would benefit most from that setup? Would it be us or would it be Facebook? Facebook didn't pay for the UAP. We
Yeah.
did. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Ganun yan eh.
Yeah.
If we put it on YouTube, yeah, sobrang daling panoorin. But who's going to benefit from it? Is it kami or is it YouTube? Again, syempre,
Yeah.
there's a certain balance in, parang you want to provide a great experience, you want to provide a simple experience, but at the same time, you also need to make sure na it's going to make business sense for the company because these properties do not come cheap. For the same reason, it is for the exact same reason that you cannot watch NBA legally on Facebook or you cannot watch the NFL legally on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I hope fans will also understand that na if a property is of premium value, which means malaki yung binayad in order to acquire that property, the best way for us to ensure that yung coverage namin is of high quality, that we get the best talents, that we get the best technology, is if it makes business sense because that's going to pay for the quality of coverage that we can provide. So I hope that's the I hope that's that question might help satisfy the questions of the fans.
Yeah, that's a great answer for sure. Kasi for me, natutunan ko rin ngayon now, like, when you were talking, parang, oo nga, no, kasi kaya nga may NBA League Pass and all these things.
Yes,
Kasi
exactly,
kung
exactly.
ipapakita
Yeah.
lang nila sa YouTube or Facebook, wala din. I mean, the money that they earn now, maybe it wouldn't be that high also. Malulugi na sila sa ginagawa nila eh. So, yeah, that's a great explanation. And sana maintindihan din ng mga tao kasi it makes sense naman talaga. And you weren't like, like, avoiding the question or like not welcoming then the criticism kasi yeah, those people then yun, I think they mean well, but sometimes the way they say it lang kasi in social media, alam mo yun, palaging parang galit or
Oh, okay lang. That's
palaging
Jego, that's fandom. I mean, di
yeah,
ba? When you're a fan, it's all about passion. So
yeah,
if people are sharing their observations passionately, it only means that they're fully invested in the league,
mm,
and these are the people that we need to serve. So we listen to them, and it's an ongoing process of tweaking and improving the experience on all our platforms. So yeah, we welcome all that feedback.
yeah. So for the next part of the interview, I wanted to ask more about where you started with your broadcasting career because yeah, me personally, I saw you already in the PBA when I started watching, and you already had a great role there, and you were there for numerous years. But for me, I'm for this podcast, I'm curious for you to share also to others, like how did you start with the industry? Like I know it's a lot of people want to go to the broadcasting or sports media industry, but it's not easy. And I wanted to ask if like you had a great passion for sports. Were you a player before? What were you before even stepping foot and the
I
stuff that you endured before being an anchor in the PBA?
Clearly, you have not met me in person because tinatanong mo if naging player ako before. If you meet me in
Yeah,
person,
pwede naman eh, yung grade
you,
school, ganun.
yeah,
Before, there
oh,
were no height limit.
yeah, grade school, tapos hindi na tumangkad kaya, yeah, I mean, yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't even that good in grade school, so no, I mean, I'm
yeah,
just like most other uh, people in the business. Yeah, I grew up as a fan. I grew up dreaming that I could be a basketball player one day, which never happened. But yeah, I mean, I was a fan basically all my life. I started watching PBA, UAP. I was in grade school, and pretty much did that all throughout high school, all throughout college. But I never thought that my being a fan would lead to a career in sports. I just enjoyed being a fan. So I just enjoyed watching PBA games on TV, watching the UAP. I would go to Blue Eagle Gym, watch the games live, never thinking, never even dreaming that it would lead to sort of a career. Uh, Definitely not in broadcasting. I never had any crazy aspiration. Gusto ko maging commentator, or I want to be a host, or I want to
yeah,
come out on TV. Not at all. As in zero dreams or aspirations of the sort. No. But luckily, when I was looking for a job after my graduation, I initially was hoping to join the advertising industry. I thought I would be in advertising, but my first job was offered to me by ANC at
Oh,
that
okay.
time, and they were looking for a sports reporter. So
Mm.
the person was interviewing me, who became my first boss, David Saldran. You might know him from
Mm. Okay.
ANC. He was
Yeah.
my first boss, and he asked, would you be interested in covering sports? Tinanong niya, I'm a sports fan. Yun ang ginagawa ko eh. I actually preferred watching UAP than going to class. So
Yeah.
sabi ko, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that. And so that was my first job, and then that job led to a really mind blowing opportunity to join the, I don't know if you remember, the NBA, which was the
Mm.
regional league that was that partnered with ABS-CBN. And so because I was in ANC and I was one of the sports personalities of ABS-CBN at that time, I was recruited, or I was asked to audition as courtside reporter, and then I got the job. So that really started my uh, basketball on cam career. So I was courtside reporter for that league for a year, and
Mm.
then I don't know why, but they thought of promoting me to anchorman, or commentator, play by play. I was really young, and you have to remember I was working alongside legends like Seb Sarmienta, Bill Velasco, Butch Maniego, and so it's otherworldly that the producers would think that ako was ready to work alongside those legends. But so they said, oh, promote ka na namin. And so parang ako, oh my God, parang, am I ready for this? But syempre, parang, you just parang, okay, let's do it, do your best. But I was so fortunate that the legends that I mentioned were so generous with advice, with tips, with giving me, I mean, really a master class in play by play. So my time in the NBA, I was 1998 till two, I guess mga 2000. That
Mm.
was I learned so much. I learned so much from my legendary colleagues, and because of that, that led to me um, joining the UAP panel. That was when ABS-CBN got the UAP in the year 2000. So I became a UAP commentator. Again, Jego, these are things that happened that I never thought
Yeah.
would happen. I mean, as a lifelong UAP fan, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing play by play for UAP. To this day, I still cannot fathom how that happened. And then afterwards, so I did UAP 2000 to 2002. Then I made the, I guess, a big decision. Okay, doing the UAP, and I guess the next step would be to try and see if I have what it takes to join the PBA. And so that's what I did. I joined the PBA in 2003, and yun na, tuloy-tuloy na yan. I stayed there
Yeah.
for 13 years.
Yeah.
So that's the story.
Yeah. How about for the people that, want to make it to the industry pero alam ko madaming hurdles na pinagdadaanan and you need perseverance nga and determination. So how would you like explain it to the audience then? Kasi syempre pag tingnan ka nila ngayon, you're like the head of sports content. So sasabihin nila, wow, ang galing, ganyan. Pero yung mga pinagdaanan mo in the start, maybe like hindi ka sure nga kung maha-hire ka pa for the following years sa NBA or kung makukuha ka pa ng UAP, ganun. So how was it like nung early stages nung commentator or broadcasting career mo that maybe even if it was hard, it still pushed you to become more successful until you reached the PBA for 13 years.
I think even before you reach the hard part and the challenging parts, I think the what people are most curious about is really how to get in, how to get that break. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like how to get that phone call, how to get that invitation to audition. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I always tell younger people is, you have to prepare for opportunities you don't even know you will get.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the, I guess, the secret sauce. Na if you are preparing, even without anyone telling you to prepare, meaning
Yeah.
if you are interested in the craft of storytelling, whether it's being a play-by-play, a writer, a producer, a director, but sa sports related, how do you prepare for that phone call that would change your life? I guess it's really about geeking out on what makes great play-by-play. So even if hindi mo pa iniisip play-by-play ka, when you watch a game, are you already picking up on, okay, when I watch Seb Sarmenta, this is what makes Seb Sarmenta great.
Mm.
Or when you watch a sports show, what makes this sports show good? Is it the writing? Is it the host? Is it the set? Is it the format? Is it so when you're geeking out on all these like elements, it
Mm-hmm.
really prepares you for that opportunity that you don't know is coming. And that was what happened to me. As I mentioned, I'm a lifelong fan, and when I was growing up, I was watching all these things, and I did not know it, but my idol in play-by-play is Joe Cantada, okay, the late great
Yeah.
smoking Joe Cantada, and I did not know that because I idolized Joe Cantada so much because I loved his style and I would hang on to his every word, listen to his eloquence, and because I watch so much PBA and so much basketball, hindi ko alam na download ko na pala lahat yun. I'm not saying that parang, na parang nakuha ko yung galing ni Joe Canta. No, not at all. I to this day, I'm still, trying my best to reach that summit of Mount Everest that is the Joe Cantada
Yeah.
standard of excellence. But what I'm saying is, parang because I was such a geek about what makes something good, na-download ko siya. It was sort of like programmed in my head that it should sound this way. Uh, and even in terms of sports production, and then even in terms of sports storytelling, sports writing. So I would watch and listen to Joe Cantada. And then I would read Sports Illustrated. Like really read it, like that was like my sports Bible. And I would read all those great legendary writers, and parang naaaral ko how they would write their articles, how they would use words, and I was a fan of sports movies and sports documentaries. So Jego, parang nangyari, all my life, I didn't know I was like learning all these things as a sports nerd. And
Mm.
then when that opportunity happens, that crazy phone call, that unexpected phone call, I did not know it, but I was ready for it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like my explanation for that. Na if you are learning, you're studying, you're geeking out, you're helping yourself get ready for that phone call. And that's when people, this is sort of like the sports version of when luck meets opportunity, di ba?
Mm.
Preparation, luck, opportunity, those are the elements that need to connect. If you help
Mm.
yourself make those points connect, then you give yourself a fighting chance to get a career in the industry that you want.
Yeah, that's what I also want. Like, kasi yun nga, I want to be in sports media in the future. Kaya, like me, naalala ko lang when you said Sports Illustrated. Kasi yung mga slam magazines, I have it all here na, yung, I don't know kung since anong year yun. And then, Slam Philippines stopped producing nung pandemic, di ba? So,
Yeah.
like, now, wala nang nagbabago dun sa closet. Like, I have like a spot there with all the magazines. So, yeah, I just read it also. And yung mga podcasts din, like, I just keep
Yeah.
listening to the ones now, lalo na nung pandemic, and a lot of new ones have begun like nung pandemic. Like, before the pandemic, there weren't those. Like, it's a new way now of storytelling. So yeah, that's something I'd also want others to know because yeah, I'm pretty sure I have friends like from the La Salle and also that want to have a career in writing or in sports broadcasting, as a job in the future. So hopefully they also gain that words of wisdom that you gave. But yeah, you mentioned storytelling and sharing the sports content to others. And before, when you were in the PBA, you had like interactive, yung may mga jokes ka na minion, I remember, and then you had FTW, you had Bro
Yeah.
Show, like
Yeah.
parang you were ahead of your time nga that you had the way to entertain the audience. Parang ngayon lang na uso ulit na yung may inside the NBA, biglang everyone watches it na. and then there's podcasts. Like the bro show's like a podcast format, but then like now you had it years back. FTW's parang ganun din. So sa'yo, what prompted like the start of those what do you call this, those innovative ideas, like because you parang you were anticipated what's gonna happen now, or is it, did you have the help of others as well?
Okay, Diego, let me clarify lang. When we did those things, we had no intention of being ahead of our time. We had no intention of sort of setting trends or alam mo yan, parang introducing revolutionary innovations. No, Diego. All we wanted to do was really talk about basketball. That's all we wanted to do. I mean, that was just the essence of all those projects and all those shows that we did. It just so happened na uh, platforms that were looking for basketball content mas digital at that time. So while we were working, as you mentioned nga, for Active, and we were covering the games and we were doing a halftime studio show for
Yeah.
broadcast, tamang-tama, pwede namin i-extend yung mga kwentuhan namin about basketball on another platform. And so we were lucky that GMA Sports at that time was interested in producing at that time ang tawag pa nga web show pa nga yung tawag nun, hindi pa nga podcast, web show. And
Yeah, para
so
it's like a podcast, right?
yeah, but basically
Yeah.
podcast, no? But
Yeah.
I mean, really, uh, just to tell you the sort of ano ba, the I guess the seeds, no, of all those initiatives, no, whether yung nga, FTW, Bro Show. I mean, it's really a result of the kind of conversations that we would have in the production room before and after games. So the idea was,
Mm,
total, ginagawa naman natin to before games, nagkukwentuhan tayo, nagtatawanan tayo, we would talk about the players and the teams, we talk about PBA, NBA, UAP. Why not do it and then someone will pay us? Ganun lang kasi, ganun lang kasimple yun. And
mm.
then nagkataon, the sort of evolution of platforms na emerging platform itong yun nga, a digital show. Okay, yeah, we can do it there. And then after FTW naman, we did okay. We got the opportunity to do the Bro Show, and so okay, let's do that, diba? Yung podcast siya, no? Okay, let's try and do that. But really, you look at the connective thread of all of that. It's really about fun, interesting, funny conversations
Yeah.
about basketball amongst friends. You will see that when you watch us, it kind of mirrors what a conversation will be like, even you with amongst you and your friends. It's the
Yeah,
same.
that's why I like it. Yeah.
Tinatago lang namin yung ano. I mean, kulang. I mean, the highest compliment that we get is, grabe, kulang na lang may beer kayo, or di ba? Yun
Yeah.
we take that as the highest compliment kasi yun talaga siya. That's really the spirit of what we do. Make fans happy, do things that make us happy, and in doing so, we're serving the fan with inside stories, funny things. You make a fan laugh. You make a fan think. Diba? You don't need to be serious all the time. Diba? So sometimes you make them think. Sometimes you make them laugh. Most times we make them laugh because we're idiots. Diba? So, but for the most part, kung natutuwa kasi yung fans, then we've done our job, no matter what the platform is. So, medyo aksidente na lang yung parang, parang, parang ahead of our time. Yeah, we had no allusions or, so, we had no parang, we're gonna be the first or we want to be ahead. No.
Yeah.
Nagkataon lang talaga na we did it in on an emergent digital platform.
Yeah, that's a great that you didn't even have that intention, because those times siguro yung mga podcast lang na alam ko na sports was international, like yung mga Basketball Jones, yung the starters, yung sila J.E. Skeets or maybe like Bill Simmons, like sila lang yung mga naalala ko na earlier na nagkaroon ng podcast bago like gumaya na yung iba eh. But then now, like with you guys, you did that before, so it was great. People appreciate it more now. Like I heard nung early in the pandemic, di ba, nagka-reunion episode pa kayo ng FTW,
Yeah,
and
we had
people
reunion.
looked forward to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
If I may connect it to our earlier discussion about yung nga parang geeking out and preparing for
Yeah.
crazy opportunities, no? You mentioned the Basketball Jones, which is one of my
Mhm.
all-time favorite
Yeah, me also.
initiatives. I mean, yeah, they became the starters, but for me talaga I'm TBJ Army ako eh. I mean, I consumed their podcast like crazy. I think also parang so long before nagka FTW nagka bro show. I just like you, I would consume TBJ inside the NBA. I mean all these other basketball podcasts, Bill Simmons, etc. etc.
Mm.
In consuming all of that, I guess Jego again, no, parang sort of like a consistent theme in I guess in my general career. It helps me prepare for so it helped me prepare for that opportunity to do FTW. Kasi nga
Yeah.
nakikinig na kami nung like all those things, no, even inside the NBA we would watch it, we would watch Open Court. And
Oh
because
yeah,
of
open.
all of that, kasi nga parang medyo inaaral mo siya. Kasi wala eh, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. So,
Mm.
inaaral ko siya even if I don't have to. No one asks me to do that. No one asks us
Yeah.
to do that. But, I'm lucky I get to work with people who are just as passionate about learning, improving in our industry, checking the trends in the States, diba? Ganyan. What are they doing in the NBA? What are they doing in the NFL? And when that opportunity arrives, we're kind of ready for it. I mean, even when I was tasked to head digital sports for ABS-CBN, I had no prior experience in being any sort of like supervisor role. All of a sudden, having this corporate job, but medyo ang nagpakapal ng mukha ko was that, hey, you know what? Long before I was given this great opportunity, I was consuming podcasts. I was studying the podcasting industry. I was already geeking out on parang watching what was happening on Instagram, watching what was happening on Facebook. I was at that time definitely a Twitter power user. Like I could not watch a game without
Yeah.
being on Twitter. So
Yeah.
all of that again unknowingly became kind of like the best education and preparation tool. So when that opportunity happened, Amico, would you be interested in helping us with our digital efforts? Parang ako, okay, yeah, sige, I'm scared, I'm terrified, but at the same time, you know what? Medyo alam ko yan kasi I consume it. I'm a
Mm.
fan and I know that behavior. So sige, I'm willing to try it and do my best. So I guess yun siya, para medyo consistent siya in kind of like all the stages of the tasks that I do.
Yeah, that's really great. And syempre ako like, since I do that, parang mas namomotivate din ako ituloy yun. Like sometimes my mom, she's like, oh, sino na naman yung ini-interview ko? Sometimes I just play it while I'm doing stuff. So,
Yeah.
kasi pag podcast, it's easy. Like it's just playing there. You don't need to like watch it
Mm-hmm.
like Netflix eh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes she hears it. And then minsan napapakinig din siya pag maganda yung topic or yung
Yeah.
interviewee. Eh. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes that's really what I want to do lang that, I don't know, you continue to parang increase knowledge. Kasi sometimes sa mga podcasts, dun rin napapashare yung mga guests that something they wouldn't share on TV or in a
Yeah.
regular talk show ng sports. Eh. So that's why I really
Oh,
like
for
podcasts.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. I'm such a fan
Mm.
of the podcast format because uh it's all about listening. So syempre ako people mostly know me as a commentator, so trabaho ko magsalita na magsalita, but but when I listen to a podcast, it's really a learning mode. You know what I mean? Like wala kang choice but to learn because you're listening.
Mm.
So you're not talking, you're really listening and you're absorbing everything. And so it's really fun na and I listen to podcasts about, so obviously I've listened to podcasts about commentators, sports people, but at the same time I also I also listen to so many other podcasts about digital media, about
Mm.
sports rights management, about
Mm.
sports production, and it's so great because it's free. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
parang it's free. I mean, yes, I subscribe. I have a Spotify subscription,
Spotify.
but for
Yeah.
the most part, with that one subscription fee, I get so much. Like
Yeah.
like whether it's an audiobook or a podcast, and it's fascinating to learn about the industry that I'm part of, and so like we may not have rights to F1, but I'm fascinated about how F1 does their thing. About
Mm.
how F1 does their social media, how they do their broadcast. Even if I we don't own any F1 right, I'm not even an F1 fan, Diego. I mean, I'm
Oh,
aware
okay.
of it. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Drive to Survive again. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a super casual fan,
Yeah.
but I'm more of a fan of how they do their media business.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of that. That's what I mean about parang you need to have that sort of geek mentality na parang no one's asking me to do this, but
Yeah.
I'm a geek. I want to learn. so
Yeah.
I'm curious, so I want to find out. Maybe there's a way to apply what I learned from that to what I do now for Signal. Maybe there's a way for me to apply what I learned about F1 to make UAP better, to make
Mm-hmm.
PVL better. So I guess that's where the curiosity comes in.
Yeah. Since I know you consume a lot of content, I know you know the debate now about the old media, new media thing in the states of yung old media. I mean, it's what they say. It's like sila Skip Bayless, Stephen
Mm.
A, sila Colin Cowherd, those people. And then the new media are like sila JJ Redick, Draymond, and all these people. So, syempre it also applies to like other sports. Pero sila Draymond lang nagsasabi. Pero para I know what they mean. Like even if NFL players must yung ibang NFL yung papakinggan pag NFL topics. That's what they want to like share to the people or impart. Pero for you, I wanted to ask, since you're part of like the media industry here in the Philippines, like, syempre yung mga TV shows, meron pa rin yung like First Take, they're the top rated, I don't know, show on ESPN at the morning, and then they have other shows like NBA Today, and then there's Undisputed. Pero they think na, it's headed toward the direction na magpa-podcast ka. Like si Draymond, minsan hindi na siya nagsasalita sa press conference, and then he'll just say his thoughts. When he got ejected nung isang game nung playoffs, he just said it on the podcast. And then there's others like CJ McCollum, JJ Redick, Kevin Durant. They all have their own podcast because they feel that's where they can express everything. So walang restrictions, walang parang, alam mo yun, pag may network, you can say this lang. So what's your thoughts on the premise that he's saying? Like, do you agree with it na talagang papunta na sa new media? Or kailangan pa rin, may old media pa rin?
Uh, I would not be comfortable like labeling parang old media, new media. I guess parang that comes from the context of like somebody in my role. I have to make sure every kind of fan who consumes sports on the platforms that they choose will be happy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like parang new media is more important than old media. I mean because as I said earlier, di ba, parang there are people who want to watch UAP on TV. That's their preference. So you make them happy. So I wouldn't call it old media because it's important. So that's part of the pie. There are also fans who want to watch it on streaming. We have to make them happy as well. Our digital team will have to make the fans who consume UAP on social media happy. So it's all part of a big pie. No pie in a sense is more important than any other. Maybe one demographic might be bigger or no, but in a sense, no one gets disenfranchised. Everybody needs to be served to the best of our ability. So I prefer not to look at it as old media. I prefer to look at it as different platforms and different experiences. And our job is to make sure that we learn to serve or to provide the best kind of experiences for each kind of fan. Now, you mentioned about the Draymonds and all the smoke guys and
Yeah.
JJ Redick and
Knuckleheads pa.
yeah, knuckleheads and
Yeah.
okay. So this is a really exciting trend. When you have noona, it was recently retired athletes, getting podcasts, diba? Sila Richard Jefferson and
Yeah.
parang ganyan. So that was sort of like the trend, something like 3-4 years ago. And now you actually have active players
Yeah.
getting contracts, diba? From Turner, from ESPN, and this is and really the thing that you learn, especially when you're my age, is that you cannot stop evolution. You cannot stop change, no matter how hard you try. And so, if a trend happens, if a shift happens in how an industry operates, then really what you need to do is you adapt. You learn, you adapt, and so you do your best to improve, to learn how to serve. a younger generation. And so if the trend is more and more athletes are learning how to host, then that's the trend. So now, before, when I guess when I was starting, no, kami-kami lang, di ba? Wala kaming kalaban na parang active player na magpe-play-by-play or kaya mag-host. Kasi dati kami lang yun, di ba? You guys play, kaming mga hindi naman kaya maging varsity or maging PBA player, magiging host kami. But now, we have to embrace that trend na, you know what? A guy like Sean Ildefonso, who's a rookie in the PBA, has the talent to host a show.
Yeah.
That's just, yun lang yung reality nun. Sean Ildefonso, Tyler Tio, I mean,
Theo. Yeah.
all these guys have the ability to, host a show just like me. Ganun lang siya. And I
Mm.
cannot say para why are you do kami, this is my domain or whatever. No, I mean that's the trend. You can't stop it. You just have to adapt. And honestly, personally, it's fascinating for me because it allows for more kind of like more diversity of talent. I think it will make fans happy to see their idols on more platforms. I mean, I look forward. I definitely look forward to the day that I get to partner with like Sean Ildefonso in the UAP someday. I think that's going to be fun, and that's why this is
Mhm.
fascinating for me. Steph Curry is going to host the ESPYS,
Yeah.
the first ever active athlete to host the ESPYS. This trend, you cannot put the genie back in the bottle. This is ano na to.
Mhm.
This is charting the future of this industry, and I mean, all you can do is embrace it, observe it, learn from it, and then adapt.
Yeah, that's true. And one of it also social media. Like, yeah, the players, yun nga, they just create some sort of fake beef so that people have some content to talk about on their podcast. Sometimes it's real, but then I feel some of them are fake. Like, sa DMs, magkakaibigan lang sila, pero they'll just say trash talk stuff to say on the court, to gain some attention. And yeah, topics on first take or undisputed that they talk about. But for you also, before, when you would tweet something, I'd read it, ganyan, and now I think you're less active on Twitter, on Instagram. So what's also the reason for that? Because before you would have like a Q&A pod and I'd
Yeah.
ask questions. I remember.
Did you ever get to ask, and did I ever get to answer your question during
Yeah,
one of
you
the?
did
Oh,
like
I
more
did.
than
Okay.
once. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, belatedly, thank you for taking part in those
Yes.
late night Q&A
Yeah.
sessions. Uh, you know, there another reason why I'm fascinated with the emergence of all these like athlete voices no in media. So let's say you take first take for example. Okay, so Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless, they have a particular way of looking at things. And then when you listen to a JJ Redick,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been listening to JJ Redick since he started with Yahoo, and
Oh, that's longer than me.
yeah, so
Yeah. Mm.
they provide a very different point of view. And I'm not going to say that one point of view is better than the other, or
Yeah.
one is right and the other is correct. No. I think that's what makes sports fun. Now you
Yeah.
get different perspectives and different points of view and different ways of looking at situations in sports. And if that happens here in the Philippines, I think it would be great. I think it would be great that you have voices that we listen to, that we've been listening to for 10, 15, 20 years. But at the same time, if more athletes get to share their insights and their voices and their analysis, I think that's great. I get to learn from the young athletes that I get to work with, that I get to cover games with. I learn so much from how they view the game, and we believe that fans are going to learn just as much and enjoy just as much listening to all these like different voices in the game.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to ask. I think you didn't answer it. Why aren't you on Twitter anymore? Why aren't you
So I
on
try to
Instagram?
avoid that question. Sorry. Yeah. Well, you're not the. Yeah. I mean, that is intentional. That I've kind of taken a step back from my activities on social media. I
Yeah.
guess. I guess it's also because of the challenges of my current work. Uh, uh, Sort of like an intentional decision, and even maybe a strategic decision to kind of focus my energies and mental bandwidth and really time and attention on the tasks that I need to do. So it was a decision. Okay, I just had to prioritize what deserved my full attention, and I guess to while I do enjoy tweeting during games and whatnot,
Q&A.
and the Q and A's, yes. But maybe taking a break from that would allow me to really focus on my responsibilities now in my current role. But maybe in the future, maybe in the future, I'll 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 get the curiosity to go back and tweet. I didn't cancel or I didn't
Oh, it's just
delete.
there.
It's
Mm.
just there, and I
Mm.
maybe sometime in the future, if people are still tweeting, then maybe
Yeah.
I can do it again. But for now, I'm content just being aware, just studying how these social media platforms are evolving, and it's how their roles in sports is developing. So okay na ako kind of like looking at it from a distance.
Yeah. How about with the ano? I am curious since you mentioned it that sila JJ and sila Skip they have like a new different perspective. Nothing's correct, nothing's wrong. I wanted to ask why you think like yung format nung yung parang first take undisputed like sila yung prime time nga but then here sa Philippines wala masyadong ganun like now lang nauso like yung kay Mikey Reyes na may shoot first siya like sila Mix Bustos they have off the record sila Carlo Pamentuan they have 2OT pero wala yung ganung format na nagki-click sa audience sa US. Pero it's not, I don't know if it's also only the audience here hindi nila feel yun. Kasi I know like the Filipino audience naman, they like watching First Take and Undisputed, yung ganong format or yung debate show or yung TV show na nandun every weekday. So why would you think that maybe that kind of style of sports show wouldn't click here? Or why is it not, hindi pa nahanap nila yung niche of that for here?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do not have a great answer. I really, I don't know. I mean, many people have attempted to do, because First Take has been around forever, right? And that's like the
Yeah.
gold standard for sports debate shows. And
15 years or something. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, people have tried one-on-one debate. I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing. I don't know
Maybe.
if bagay sa mga Pinoy. I don't know kung pikon tayo masyado. I really
Ah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's parang we're more comfortable watching Skip and Stephen A debate than it is listening to a debate Pinoy to Pinoy about something about sports. I'm not sure.
Gilas.
I
Yeah.
don't. I really don't know. But people love debating each other in the comment section. I just
Yeah.
don't know.
That's why. Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah.
Pero hindi ko alam. Really, yeah, it's a great question because I don't know the answer to it. I might have some thesis as to why, but I can't confirm it. So, hindi ko alam. But yeah, I mean, it's a great format. I just don't know why it hasn't really worked here. Personally, I prefer not to do any debate format. I'm not. I guess it's not that I'm not a fan of it. Siguro I prefer a more fun conversational and then maybe as part of the conversation kung may medyo mapasok na sort of debate, then okay lang, but not like
Mm.
debate, you know what I mean, like debate per
Yun na yung main.
na
Yeah.
yun na yung main na you're gonna do debate for like 40 minutes. Maybe baka there are other people na mas bagay sa ganong format, but ako personally, ako gusto ko magkwentuhan na lang tayo and then magtawanan na lang, and then in the process if we learn something, then great.
Yeah, sometimes rin kasi pag debate, minsan nakikita ko they try to have topics na lang for the clicks more than like the substance. Kaya yung podcast sometimes when they say it, like sila JJ, like that's what I listen to. I prioritize to listen to rin kasi mas may matututunan din ako. And mas may, yung ina-analyze talaga nila yung game more than just saying whatever. Like si Skip, I'm pretty sure, he always says these random stuff about LeBron that I've heard thousands of times already since his ESPN days. Eh. So maybe that's why also the Pinoys would just prefer, reading Rappler articles or something else, spin articles, or listening to like, yeah, yung mga sinabi kong shows kanina. Pero yung isa pang part that I really like hearing from others about you is, ikaw daw, since now you're not now in the anchoring or commentating. I mean, you do in the UAP, you were there, pero less na than before. You're like a mentor to people. So when did that start naman that you really had that passion to also teach and like teach the younger generation and share your blessings to them?
Well, you just said it. It's really about sharing the blessings that I've received all throughout my career. When I was starting, I had the incredible luck of meeting, getting to work with, being friends with living legends, in the broadcast industry. And they because they taught me so much, it just felt right. It just felt proper that once I was in a position uh, to also share what I learned, then parang yeah, parang dapat you pay it forward. Dapat kung ano yung how I benefited from all that generosity from the legends that I work with. Dapat ma-share ko din siya to younger commentator, younger writers, and so yeah, parang ano lang talaga siya, sharing the blessings talaga. I mean, to the best of my abilities. I mean, ako naman parang I'm not like going to pretend that what I teach is correct or the best, or I just whatever I know I will share. I mean, yun lang yun. I hopefully it helps. Hopefully it guides. But in the end, we're all just trying to do a good job. We're all just trying to improve on our craft, and if it's a means to help each other out, then great. So yeah, ganun siya, ganun lang. When did it start? I mean, I don't exactly remember, but I guess parang you kind of all of a sudden you feel like parang, uy, ang tanda ko na pala, or parang medyo matagal na pala ako dito. And so
Mm.
what's funny is parang now I am currently working with, let me count, maybe minimum 5 or 6 children of my colleagues. Ganon, I mean, that's how long I've been in this business. That's how long I've been blessed to stay in this business. And so to be working with children of respected colleagues, I whether they're fellow commentators or they're analysts that I cover games with, or they're writers or they're producers, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to have the chance to share with them what I know in the same way that their parents shared what they knew with me. So
Mm.
ganun lang siya. Pasa-pasa, and kind of rising tide lifts all boats. So kung nagtutulungan kami, we share, then it helps the industry, and in the end, the ultimate ending niyan, you make the fans happy with the work that we do.
Yeah. So how about the what are you still aspiring for? What do you still wanna have as a job? Like when you started, you kept saying that you kept just accepting the opportunity, and you kept evolving. Then like from MBA to UAP to PBA, then bigla now you were in ABS, more behind the scenes, and then Signal. So paiba ng paiba yung role mo. So ikaw, like as you continue to grow and evolve in the sporting industry, like what do you still wanna be like? Gusto mo maging like PBA governor? Ganun kataas.
Uh, uh, I, well, I you know, that's an interesting question. I think uh, what I would want to do is to just keep improving at what I do, and really, it's just about learning. So as long as I'm learning, I'm improving, and I I can't predict. I mean, I can't predict what opportunities are waiting for me in the near future, in the distant future. I really don't know. Just as I could never predict that I would be a commentator someday after college. So parang it's really just about learning as much as I can, teaching whenever I can, improving as much as I can, and if it helps me prepare for whatever next the next challenges are, then great. It's really the best I can do. I don't know. I don't have control over what future roles are ahead of me. I don't have control over that. There are people who might have an idea. There are people who might have plans for me. I don't know what those plans are, but all I can control is the kind of learning and preparation that I can do. Maybe what's funny is, when I graduated from college and I was thinking of having a career in sports, and as I told you, I had no illusions that I would be a commentator or someone that would appear in front of the camera. I originally just I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to produce.
Mhm.
I wanted to do halftime segments. And what's interesting is, in a way, I now have that opportunity to really focus on the behind the scenes stuff, like really on the planning, strategy, and long term preparation for, like currently we're already preparing for UAP season 85.
Yeah.
So stuff like that excites me and the team that I work with. So yeah, I'm not retired from, you know
Yeah.
I mean, uh, I still do play by play, as you mentioned, for UAP, and I enjoy that. And then every now and then you might see me hosting a show, and I enjoy
Yeah.
that.
PBA
But
rush. Yeah.
yes, but I guess what intrigues me the most is meeting challenges about behind the scenes. The
Mhm.
storytelling. Making sure we're working, we're forming, we're building the best teams, best storytelling teams that we can build. That's challenging. It's nerve wracking. I might lose sleep over it, but it's really exciting. It's an exciting challenge to be facing at this stage of my career. So and it forces me. It inspires me to keep learning, to be better at my job, to be a better planner, a better strategizer, maybe a better mentor to the people who are searching for mentorship. And so yeah, challenges just get bigger, harder, and all we're left to do is meet the challenge and prepare to meet the challenge.
Yeah. So thank you so much again, Sir Miko, for joining me here on my podcast. But before we wrap up, I asked the guests some general questions before they go. So one would be, I'm pretty sure that you know that the athletes now in the States, they're more vocal about social and political issues, like started in the bubble with the George Floyd incident and all the Breonna Taylor and the Jacob Blake incidents, and even now with the Brittany Griner situation in Russia, like they're very vocal. And then here in the Philippines, before when I started this podcast, kasi like they weren't as vocal yet, or they were yeah, they wouldn't like post about their opinions on social and political issues. Pero that changed, like as the podcast was gaining more episodes. Like yeah, the context of the question would change kasi they became more active
Yeah.
nung papunta na sa elections in 2022. So, in your opinion, would you be okay with athletes or and sports personalities, using social media or media in general to, amplify their voice and share their opinions on social and political issues? Because I know some aren't in favor of it or they prefer not to do it.
Number one, I think that is a deep personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't subscribe to the idea of imposing it on athletes, that ibang parang pressure athletes to be vocal about particular issues. I think it's really a personal choice. But at the same time, I know that athletes more and more are learning to use the power of their voice, the power of their platform, the power of their brand. And it's really up to them to discover and figure out how they can help their fan base make informed decisions about many aspects of life. And politics is just one part, one part of life. I mean, education is one, mental health is another, and so on and so forth. And these athletes, they have the platform, they have the voice, and for as long as they're trying, learning how to use that voice for the greater good, then yeah, I'm all for it. You don't have to agree with you don't have to agree with their opinions or what their advocacies or what they're fighting for, but you do have to appreciate that some of the athletes really uh, are really at the forefront, or are I guess unafraid to put their voice out there. And if people agree, great. If people disagree, then so be it. I mean, that's what being vocal is. You're not vocal because you believe 100% of people will agree with you, right? You're being
Yeah.
vocal because you're sharing it, and then if people agree with it, great. If they don't, then you can engage in a very healthy conversation, a very healthy discourse. So I think that's what it is. I think more and more we're having a very healthy discourse with athletes who are comfortable sharing their insights about important matters in the lives of their fan base. And if it leads to positive influence, yeah, I mean, yeah, more power to the athletes who are using their platforms that way.
Yeah, I really agree with that sentiment. So this next question, I asked also Sir Sev because I interviewed him yesterday morning, Sir Sev Sermenta. And which sporting event or game would you want to cover? Like any international or local that you wish you covered?
Ah, what was Seb's answer? I'm curious.
What did he say? I forgot, guy. But then, oh no, he said NBA because he never got to cover NBA though.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, is your question something like parang something I can cover in the future, or is it a
Yeah, if
past
you
ups?
want. Yeah. And during the
Uh,
past, pwede rin. Like some game 7 of the finals and mga ganun.
uh, Sige, sige, I'll attempt to give you two answers. Okay.
Okay.
In terms of a past event, um, hmm, I wish the 1988 UAP Championship between Ateneo LaSalle, that was the first Ateneo LaSalle finals in the UAP,
Mm.
would have been cool to have done play by play for that. Kaya lang, I was still in high school nung time na yun. But yeah, I mean that's one
Mm.
past event na parang, oh, that would have been nice. Would have been a
Yeah.
cool opportunity to do play by play for the first ever Ateneo LaSalle finals in the UAP. Kasi, di ba, historic event siya. Um, I guess one event that I've never done is the Olympics. I've never been to an Olympics.
Mm.
Ev has done so many.
Yeah.
I've never done it. Not that parang yeah, I wish I could do it, but it's just, I guess, just one of those things that parang okay, maybe that's something that in the future I'll get to do.
Yeah. So for the next question naman, if you had the opportunity to have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would you bring? I'm pretty sure you know that question from all the smoke. I
Mm.
just like it and the people have great answers.
Sige. So the context is parang 5 people dead or alive, and then you're just hanging out. Ganun ba yun? Is
Yeah.
that okay? So
Yeah.
siguro, let's say the context is, sinong gusto kong 5 tao makasama if we're talking about like sports, we're talking about basketball. So
Any,
on that
kahit life, kahit
life
yeah, anything, yeah.
on that table, my idol is Joe Cantada. I never met him. I never got the
Mm.
chance to work with him. So Joe Cantada is one. Uh, another underrated legend in broadcasting is Pingoy Pengson. He was a contemporary of Joe Cantada, covered the PBA, super eloquent, super intelligent. I think I'm going to learn so much if I do. If
Yeah.
again, I mean, sila ni Joe Cantada, they're up there in heaven. And if I could have magical powers to sit down with them for just like a half hour, an hour,
Yeah.
I'd grab it. So that's two. Sev Sarmenta is another because he's my mentor, he's my ninong. And yeah, I mean, every time we just had lunch like the other day, and each time we get together, I learn something new. So
Yeah.
he has to be there. Uh, I guess uh, maybe my other idol, Senator Robert Jaworski. The reason why I became a PBA fan, I guess he should be there. The
Yeah.
very first person I copied in our backyard basketball court. That's the Big J. So he's number four. And then maybe for the fifth, uh, I guess kung Big J was my very first basketball local idol, Magic Johnson would be my first
Mm.
NBA idol. So I'll ask Magic to occupy the
Yeah.
the fifth seat. I actually had the opportunity to interview Magic Johnson. This is like I think 96 thereabouts. So nakasabay ko siya sa elevator
Wow.
with
Rare.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, so I think I was able to interview. I had like three questions or something. But yeah, Magic Johnson would be the fifth member of that table.
Yeah. So for the final question, since I just email you guys or contact you through social media, who would you suggest that I should invite here on the DVD show? Since I don't really have like connects yet in the industry, and I just message whoever. Buti pumapayag sila. So who do you think would have a great story to tell or masarap makipagkwentuhan about sports topics, sport events?
Oh, I would gladly connect you with my partners in the UAP. People I've learned they're new, but I'm learning so much working with them. Willie Wilson,
Oh yeah.
Larry Fonacher,
Oh
Diego
Larry, yeah.
Dario, Jet
Mm.
Manuel. I mean, all these guys. I would gladly hook you up with them so you'll have an opportunity to interview them on a DVD show.
Yeah, I got them already. Except
Oh, you got them
Willie
already.
Wilson. Yeah, the three of them. I got the three of them before
I would
earlier.
also include Bea Daes Fabros on that list as she
Oh yeah,
became
I
our
haven't interviewed her. Yeah.
first ever female play-by-play for the UAP. So yeah, I think that would be a great conversation as well.
Okay, I'll keep them in mind. Si Willie, hindi ko pa na-interview and si
Yeah.
Bea. So yeah, hopefully in the future. So thank you so much again, Mico, for joining me here. And do you have any final message before we
No,
go?
I just want to thank you, Diego, for this for inviting me and for this opportunity to share some stories. Hopefully, hopefully some your listeners will learn something from my ramblings and stuff I said. And keep doing your show. Keep working at this because this might be your preparation for a crazy phone call that might happen in the
Oh,
future
yeah.
and could change your life. So more power to your show, and keep improving and keep learning and keep getting better at it.
Thank you so much again, Mico. And hopefully I could have you again on the future. So before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Sure.
Okay, I'll take it. One, two, three. Okay, thank you again, Mico, for joining me and stay safe and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Jago.